Hi everyone, my name is Simon Mishevich from Optimized Accountants, and in this video I want to tell you, landlords and business owners that sell product services, how to maximize your profits using bookkeeping. And I know that bookkeeping is an administration task that we don't like to do, but it is essential to ensure that we control our business, we run it, but we also look at the numbers. All your activity, by the way, everything you do is about numbers. Why do I say that? Because your business, when you are selling a product or service or renting a house, is rent. Rent is a number. The cost you expense is all numbers, and it comes back to profit. So if you're not comfortable with numbers, make sure that you get comfortable with them. That's the best way of putting it. I'm happy to create more videos, so if you feel that that would be useful, then feel free to drop in some comments and I'll try and create some videos using bookkeeping to help you in your business. And the one thing I would say about profitability analysis is really looking at your income and costs. Now, this is zero. You can do the same in QuickBooks or any other system you're using, but this is a dummy account. I'll need to change that going forward. But this is a demo account. And I'll stick with zero because it's just easier to see than QuickBooks. Both systems do a good job, to be fair, but I'll just use zero for now. But you can get the same information using profit reports. And the reason why I use the profit reports in this way, and you can see it's a demo account for UK, but it doesn't matter for you, UK, US, to be fair, this is very, very useful, is what I'm trying to do is compare months or quarters. Now you can change that, so it could be a year, you can change that to a month, you can change that to a quarter. I've done this for a quarter, but you know what, I'm going to just change that to, if I just change that to a month, for instance, then that might be another way of showing you of how this all works rather beautifully, if you don't mind me saying. And so I'm going to compare it to 4 months, update that, and away I go. So you got the same, you got the gist. You could change the comparisons. Now, what I want you to start doing is looking at your income, your costs, and going through your costs, and then really identifying, well, what is it that's in there? Do I really need it? And this is essential for any business to be profitable. It's one thing to have sales, and we'll talk about that in another video, but we'll just focus on profitability and costs for this video. And here, what you'll notice that there's a list, as long as you're doing bookkeeping correctly and you're separating out all the transactions to identify what they are, you should start to see, okay, well, how much profit? You know, the always big thing for me is turnover for show, profit for dough. And that is so important to understand. It doesn't matter how much turnover you have. If you're making a loss at the end of it, what was the point? So here we focus on profit, and I like margin. If we can make it work, then for our clients, then that's what we should all be doing. So with that in mind, we will look at turnover here, then you've got profits, but then we've got these costs. And what you should be looking at is comparisons of month to month. Now, if you're selling services or you have properties that you rent out, then you should start to see a trend of some type. And that trend should be going up, by the way, over time. But it will also tell you, well, actually, is there an issue here by my turnover going up and down? Now, this company, or demo accounts as it says, is doing rather well. In terms of March 2023, had 1,000 going up to 2, up to 4.5, then near 11.5, now 14.5. That is significant improvement, by the way. Obviously, it's fictitious. But if your revenue is going up and down, then really you should be saying, well, how do I improve that going forwards? And that comes then back to your investments you make as well as your sales and marketing. And then you've got your costs. Now, whenever you look at your costs, you should look at totals first to bring your eye to your profit number to say, well, actually, this profit before tax, is that number really good compared to other months? Yes, it is. But actually, look at this month. If I compare these 2 months, and this is May 2023 versus April 2023, there may be an issue here. And that issue is around, if I look at these 2 months, the turnover in May 2023 was 4,500. April was 2,500, near enough. So you would expect that May 2023 would have more profit. But actually, if you go down, you'll notice that the profit is 742 versus 1213. Back to my point. If you are selling all your services, but then you make less profit, why bother? You really should do less. So straight away, what you want to do is compare your cost base to see what comparisons you can make. So accounting audit is $49.96, no difference there. £15 for bank fees. Cleaning, extra 99, but is that the big number? No. It should be investigated, because why will cleaning fee there and not the other months? And again, this could be another problem whereby your suppliers don't invoice you, and you really need them to start invoicing you on a regular basis for their activity, because again, you don't want an invoice hitting you some months down the line for about £3,000 when it should be £100 per month. I'm not going to say the company about to, but there are utility companies that do that all the time, especially for businesses, whereby they just do not bill. Then you make the phone call and say, hey, you've not sent me a bill for about 2 years. And then they'll whack you with a huge bill, which you've got to pay. Okay, back to this point. General expenses 124, no expenses there. Okay, why? You've got some expenses in these periods, but not this one. Maybe you just didn't put your receipts in. Okay, so now you're paying more tax because you're showing more profit than you actually had because you haven't submitted your invoice. So there's another trick to think about. 9844 rent. Okay, that looks consistent, so there's nothing to worry about there. But you've got subscriptions of 1219, nothing there. And what you could do for this is say, well, actually, that seems really high for the profits I'm making. So let's just click open that charge. And hopefully it will show me. Okay, so there's the subscriptions, and it's just for one invoice by the looks of things. And it says PC Complete WordPress Club Sub. Now, the question needs to be is, do you really need that? Obviously, that seems to be a one-off. But the one big thing I would ask you all to do when you're running a business is look at every line of expenditure. We can all be trapped into sort of going to this event because it's glamorous, it's fun. I don't do them because it's expensive, right? I'd rather be earning money and being with family than going to some sort of flash do whereby you're spending thousands to be there and then having to have transport, hotels, etc., which actually just costs the business a lot of money. Is it really worth it just for a night? Not always convinced. That really shows me it's bar humbug, doesn't it? All right, so what you could be doing throughout all of this is going through your expenditure, and the view when you've got a 6-month view or 4 months as it shows here is, well, actually 5 months in total, can't even add up, is to look at each of the lines of expenditure and then start to look at ways of reducing that. So the quickest example in this way is motor vehicle expenses. Is there a way to reduce your travel? So travel, I create videos on this, is rather than go to customers, can you meet halfway? Can you do a webinar? Can you do a Zoom call? Do other things that does not require you to get in that car, have the fuel expenditure and loss of time as well, which a Zoom call could have done the same job if you're providing services. If you're selling, you've got to transport things, maybe use a courier. That is cheaper than your time and expense. Rent. Another example, you may be forced to stay in a rental period, but could you get cheaper rent going forwards? I mean, this business are paying £984 for rent, where the business is generating 14,000. Is that good use of their money? I'm not convinced, to be honest. It's always good at Flash to have a dedicated office, but could you do a hot desk? Could you meet clients in hotels and book meeting rooms as and when you need them? Again, use Zoom calls instead and work from home. All those kind of things. But all I'm doing here is sharing with you how you can use a profit and loss report and compare month on month and look at trends, look at things that you can help yourself reduce from a cost base, and then look at your revenue to say, how can you improve that using greater investment, better sales and marketing. The aim of the game is this: make more profit.